What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Chatting with TCG. If you are new to this channel, we ask that you hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and also get active in the comments down below. Small disclaimer before we hop into this video. If you see a kid, if you hear a kid, make sure you mind the business that pays you. There are some children associated with people on this here panel, and children gonna be children. So let's just go ahead and ignore them, okay? So, disclaimer, that's what that was. And today's topic is going to be, why is it so easy for this generation to leave a relationship instead of putting in the work like the older people did back in the day? We're going to all give our opinions on this. We're going to get our stuff, you know what I'm saying? Get your snacks. We're going to pour our drinks up. And when we return, Reb, my X3, is going to start this video off right. So run and get your stuff and come back. Be right back.
Well, welcome back, y'all, and y'all ready for this juicy situation we're about to get into. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off, and I think the reason why it's so easy to just walk away versus work in a relationship. Um, I feel like nowadays is so much like I feel like people lack patience and tolerance. So a lot of people don't tolerate certain things. So it's easier to just be like, well, I'm a carry on. They don't have time to waste. And it's kind of like, if we're wasting our time in this relationship, what is the point of working hard or working harder when the smart thing to do is leave? I think that's a lot of the times that's what people think about. And there's a lot that goes into it. There's, if there's kids involved, there's jobs or whatever the case may be, whatever you have going for you at the moment. You can feel like the person you're with is baggage. So it's kind of like, let me head on. Um Now, I know back in the day, people used to work through everything they needed to work through, and just stick it through. But I feel like a lot of people stay together for the wrong reasons. Like I said, some people have kids, some people share a house together, stuff like that. So when you're in it for the wrong reasons, it's kind of like, what am I really working for here? So it's just easier to just let that go and leave. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Callie, what are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts on it is like the new generation, um, they don't have the same. They wasn't raised like the old generation, so a lot of them didn't see uh, family together like that. They didn't see a father and a mother together, or the grandparents together, or whatever. So when it comes to that their priorities is like different when it comes to that. Um, I feel like it's easier for them to walk away of what they see and who they're around, or sometimes they was raised that way where, oh, you don't need a man, you don't need a woman, like those type of situations, which I see a lot. And people don't value relationships anymore. You see it all over social media, and nobody cares. Like, so that's my thoughts on it.
I would have to say it's easier for them to go because of the simple fact they won't have to worry about that other person and the extra feelings and the extra emotion and all the baggage, like Amber said, you know what I'm saying? Like everything that they come with, they don't have to deal with anymore. So it's like it's easier for them to leave rather than sticking it out, because then you got to put the extra work in. Staying, that means you got to actually work through whatever you're going through. And this generation is definitely not on that. They ain't on none of that. They on, I'm about to have my cake and eat it too. And they doing it the wrong way. If you need a player's advice, hit me up. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to say, because y'all be out here just doing the game wrong. It's like y'all forget the rules. But yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah, I think this generation is very detached from their feelings. Um when things start to get too close to them feeling a certain type of way, they back off and it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna go back over here. You can stay over there and I'm gonna leave you alone. But it's definitely they this generation has not seen what a proper relationship is supposed to be, and that is because of the internet. The internet shows all of these very toxic relationships and everything, so they don't know the proper relationship to be in, so they just skating through whatever is whatever. You mess up one time, they gone up on to the next person. But that's not how a relationship is supposed to be set up. You're gonna go through stuff with that person. Nobody, you're not gonna have a perfect relationship, and you can't say after one thing happens, oh, I'm out the door. Because if that's the case, you're gonna be by yourself or hopping your whole life. That just ain't gonna work. So yeah, this generation is just definitely not in tune with their emotions how they should be when it comes to relationships.
So for myself, I'm gonna speak from a different perspective because even though I'm not from this generation, I am with the movement of moving along. So I don't give too many chances. If it's kind of three strikes you out, no going back, no doubling back, no triple, none of that. Okay. I just feel like, what's the need if in the future, if that person feels the need to replace you, then they can do that as well. So it's just the same. But I also agree with y'all, what y'all saying as well, is that this generation is not seeing proper relationships. And I can speak for myself. I haven't seen proper relationships. I haven't saw anyone in a relationship that was longer than 2 years, 3 years, maybe 5 years. But even if it was more than 5 years, they're not together now. So, you know. But yeah, that's my take on it.
Okay, so of being of this generation, um, a lot go into it. Basically, you have a lot of people. One in your ear is like, one is oh, you're getting older. Maybe you should settle down, have a family. Then others is you're young, you're in your 20s, go have fun. You're young, adventure out, expand and so forth. But when it all weighs down to it, just to piggyback, yeah, it's like one, I feel like people don't want to get their feelings hurt for real. It's like when you going in and you feeling this and so forth, case and B, and you've been hurt maybe so many times and so forth, you don't want to have that feeling again. So like you become the reflection, maybe what you receive, and it's like it's becoming more of it's spanning across the whole board. It's like you gonna have your cards in your pocket, I'm gonna have mine, and we just gonna deal them out until we get to the last card. So I would say, um, just of this generation, I say we should get back, into learning how to build a family, learn how to love and so forth, and still be that, encouraging, be independent, go what you for. I feel like we gotta learn how to do that with a person because that's actually how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to build a person no matter what it's going through and so forth the case may be. But I feel like at the end of the day, our generation just need to take a step back, start focus on what they see on social media and so forth, and maybe it'll get better.
So I think that my point of view is like different from everybody's. Um, I kind of feel like it was like normal to hear about and see relations like the older generations relationships lasted years and years and years. So and like we never really seen older people break apart and have problems. They never really showed their problems. They probably did have problems, but they never showed their problems. So it's kind of like baby crying. I'll be right back.
Now that everybody has gone. Um, and I just to bounce off of what everybody said and stuff like that, like I definitely can see the difference between our old generation and the newer generation. And to second what Destiny said, a lot of people don't, or this generation don't have role models where they're sticking together, for a very long time. Everybody that they look up to break up, in a matter of a month or 2 months. So it's kind of like they can't really go off of that. So I
Mm-hmm.
definitely hear that.
Yeah.
Or because it's like I feel like social media is a big part of that because
For sure.
they make quotes, memes, everything like one person won't do it, another one will.
Just
Makes it
like
look
that, just
good.
like that, what the person that you currently have lacks, the next person can lack it too, or do
Yeah,
it
Exactly.
worse.
exactly.
That's what you
I
Exactly.
know.
really.
Now that was
True.
a word.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You said a word without
And
no
I
flow.
definitely agree with what Blaze said. If you're the person that's constantly leaving these relationships, like, oh no, I can't do this. Up
It's
next
the
person,
problem.
you're definitely the problem because hello, even though that person can definitely break up with you too, however, you have to yourself want to be in that relationship. Forget what the other person got going on. If this is the person you want to be with and deal with, then you gonna deal with that person. If they decide that they don't want to deal with you, then that's their separate issue. But
Right.
don't make your decision based off of what the next person might do.
Hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
gotta do something for yourself, not based on them. And I think a lot of people do that. A lot of people
Well,
be
for
like,
me,
oh, they'll leave me and I'm gonna just be by myself, so I'm gonna lead them first, like kind of thing. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Sean.
Yeah. That's what it is. That's what it is for him.
well, I was just
Definitely.
gonna say for me, friend, I get turned off easily. Okay,
Mm.
so
But
too much of a not answering my text or not
see,
answering
friend,
my
that's when the
call or
conversation need to come
not.
in. See, that's what Blaze said. The communication is very lacking. That's when you
Hmm.
communicate that, and a lot of people don't want to communicate that because they like, well, I got to tell this
They don't
person
know.
that I want them to call or text me more. No, that's
They
what
feel
you're
like
supposed to
they
do.
they feel like they clocking. No, that's the issue. They
No,
don't
but
feel
what
like
if
they
you
Yeah.
do
pick up the
have that
call and doing
communication
nothing.
and that person don't receive that communication? So
Well,
Yeah.
then
see,
that's
Communication
then
is
that
definitely
weird.
a
person.
big lack of understanding the communication. So at the end of the day, um, Uncle fellow, generation or whatever. Take your time for real. Like if you're not ready for a relationship, don't get it one. If you want
Okay.
to be out here doing you and so forth, do that. And leave the ones that want to be in a relationship, alone because you're bringing the train down and it's making us look bad, very bad. So keep hope, keep love alive. Hopefully we can get back on it. And until next time.
Okay.
Peace.
That's different.
That was
See,
not the end of the
not
video, by the way.
Oh,
okay. Not
my
trying
fault.
to
Take
end the
that out.
video. It will not be cut out. She just
True.
tried to
Don't
end the
worry.
video.
So I was saying that I think
the older generation didn't really show us like the problems within their relationships. We just seen that they, lasted 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and we never really seen a bad side. So now we're getting in these relationships and we're like, whoa, like, what is this? I didn't sign up for all this. My grandparents was happy. I don't know what this is, but I'm not sticking around for this. But it's also just a different caliber of people. Like, people these days are different. This generation is like mentally there's a lot of mentally unstable people who need therapy. This generation is going through a lot mentally and spiritually. So it's kind of hard to stick together. A lot of people, it's hard to trust people. And speaking from experience, I've been in 3 relationships that were like long term, and like those, sometimes it's just not worth sticking around. Sometimes you have to realize your worth, and it's not worth sticking around in these bad situations trying to make something work, because you could be trying to make something work for years and years and years, and then you get out of it and you're just like, I wasted so much time and I could have done so much, but I spent all this time trying to stick it out with this person that was never going to change. So I just think it's a lot going on with this generation, and I think everybody needs to heal themselves before we start trying to hop into all that long term. It's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah, 100%. I also think that though, yeah, when you're in a relationship for a long time and then it ends up not working out, and you're sitting there like, man, I wasted all this time. Yeah, it definitely is a waste of time, but it's also a lesson learned. You learn things from that relationship that you can take into your next relationship, or whatever. Signs to look for. Okay, I tried communicating this way and it didn't work, so let me try this way. Like, it's a lot of stuff that you can learn from being in sometimes those long relationships, and sometimes it takes being in those long relationships and getting out of them to find the person you're supposed to be with.
Right. I can also say, like, that's true, but that's also why this generation does not, like,
Exactly.
rather will go than stay, because they're like, I seen that before. I'm
Mm-hmm.
good. I seen that before.
See the
So
red
it's
flags.
easy to just, yeah, red flags. Generation big on red flags. I'm big on red flags. Gotta go. See ya.
That's when you have to decipher if that person is worth it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because if they're worth it, then you're going to do whatever you need to.
Whatever.
So, whatever mountain you got to
Mhm.
climb, whatever ocean you got to cross.
Right.
So,
Yep.
Mm.
That's
And
true.
that's why we go back to that's why we leaving them because they ain't worth it.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
everybody
but
can't
how
not be
would
worth.
you know if it's worth it? You don't
Exactly.
put the F.
Exactly.
Yeah, every
I
man
Exactly.
put the
think
effort
Yeah,
in.
but when you
I
know
think
somebody is
once
worth it, you know they
yeah,
worth it.
once you
Yeah,
know,
but
you
then when you
know.
know, then they turn out to be that ways too, right?
Exactly. It could go both
Okay.
ways.
Quick question. Even with
And it
in
could be
knowing,
somebody who could.
Oh, I went on mute.
okay, I was about to say, so I ain't know, I thought she was going to finish. Okay. So, quick question. Even with what Shauna just said, it's like, sister, with knowing that that person ain't right for you, how would you know if you can't talk to that person and make the necessary steps to see if they can change in the way that you both need for the relationship? And then, hold on, because I know you're gonna say, "What if we tried it?" And da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? I understand. Then, sister, I understand you can leave then. But I'm saying, my nigga, you don't even know. You don't even know unless you try. And even within that day, that person can change the next day. We change within minutes. every single day. So my mind can change, my whole attitude can change, my outlook can change. Just in having
Mm-hmm.
this conversation right now, my whole outlook of certain things has changed. So it's just like, why not? You know what I'm
Definitely.
saying? Why leave everybody just because they fucked up that one time or that two times
Mm-hmm.
or that three times strikes you out type shit? You know what I'm saying? Why do that and be alone? You gonna
Yeah.
be alone if you don't try to goddamn risk something. You gotta take a risk
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. You gotta
Yeah.
take a leap of faith
Exactly.
somewhere. But if you're not getting the same shit in return, I understand that shit too. Then you gotta leave, right, sister?
Hmm.
You gotta leave. But I was just wondering if you,
Definitely.
if that's yes, sister.
Okay. So I'm gonna put it like this. So you're in a relationship, and I'm gonna make you the person that's messing up multiple times. You messing up over and over and over again, right? And your partner keep taking you back, keep taking you back. The person that's messing up is gonna look at it. They're gonna stop eventually and look at it like, dang, I done did this, and
Hmm.
she's still here or he's still here. Dang, it must be something about me that's making this person stay. So let me get myself together
Hmm.
so I can be who I'm supposed to be for that person.
Can I
And
Hmm.
piggyback
sometimes,
off that?
yeah, sometimes that's what needs to happen sometimes in relationships. That person has to mess up and
I'm
mess
gonna
up and
come
mess up
in
and
after you
see,
finish.
yeah, and see that you're still going to be there, and you're still trying to work through it even though they messed up this time. Sometimes it takes
Um,
that for that person to see that, okay, this
Hmm.
might be the person for me. I might need to clean it up and get it together. Go ahead.
Hmm.
yeah.
Sometimes when you do that though, they be like, ah, this the 13th time. I can keep
Okay.
doing it. I
That's
can
true.
keep doing
Right.
it because she gonna stay anyway. Yeah. I'm finna cheat on her
Exactly.
20 more
They
times.
ain't gonna
Yeah.
learn that central rule.
But
I
see,
mean,
that I'm
I
sorry,
want
real
to
quick.
also piggyback.
See, that's when that happens, Cherie, in those situations, that's when you as the other person have to sit down and be like, okay, we keep having the same conversation. They say this is really not changing. Then that's when you sit down and think, okay, is this person really, really, truly worth it? Because at this point, it's been 3, 4 years and you still doing the same thing. I don't understand. Then that's when it factors in, okay, it's time for me to go. But
mm,
sometimes you have to go through those kind of steps to get to that thought process where you have to say, okay, I'm going to leave or I'm going to stay.
Go ahead, Sean.
Oh, okay. So what I was gonna say is back onto your comment where you said the person feel like they will need to change for you. I feel like change shouldn't be for another person. Change should be for yourself. So if you feel that you need to change, it need to be something that you decided on for yourself, not because of a relationship or friendship or somebody else. I understand what you're saying, but that's what I'm saying at the same time. You should change, but you should want to change for yourself, not for somebody else.
well, it starts there because when you are wanting to change, it's for you first, for your partner. So you want to change something first, and then you present it to your partner so you both can change. So it becomes an equal thing. So if you want to go into biblical shit, you know what I'm saying? We become one, we become whole. So if I don't go and take this to my partner and they don't understand where I'm coming from, we're not whole. I'm this half and she's this half. You see what I'm saying? So I get what you're saying. I do, but in the same sense, I disagree.
To
Yeah.
me personally, you was gonna say something, Callie? You could go ahead. You haven't talked much.
Okay. What I was gonna say, I'm gonna give you an example. Y'all know David Man and Tamela Man, the singers. They Tamela did a test. She was testifying. She was explaining how the relationship was. They was in. They had a rocky relationship. David man kept cheating on her. He had two kids on her. The whole they he proposed. She denied it every time, and she finally married her. After that, he changed. And after that, they got bigger. Next you know, Kirk Franklin, Tyler Perry, and now they whole family is set. So it's like he had to take a step, and one thing they did was they put God first. He that's one thing they said. He had to stop. He said he had to put God first, and they came together and everything switched. So sometimes you have to let that person change. They might fail and keep falling, they keep falling, but when you're in a relationship, you're supposed to be right next to them. Help them back up.
Right.
Because I've been through it, I've seen it, and when it came to my parents, even though like the older generation, we didn't see it, I never seen my parents argue. They might have talked, oh, they went in the room, closed the door. We didn't hear no hollering or nothing. But it came out, I talked to my mom and I was like, I never hear, no, because the reason why they sat down and they had a conversation. What was going on? What's happening? So
Mm-hmm.
that's how they fixed it. So it was never anything toxic. It wasn't no yelling, no arguing. They just, oh, we got to get this, and bam, it was over. So every time we see them, it was happy. It was
Mhm.
happy. So the new generation needs to. If we need the new generation really need to see that and actually talk to the elders and have guidance. And that's how I feel like that's what the young generation is willing to do. They don't care, so they don't see it, so they ain't gonna never care. So it's like,
Yeah.
Right. Callie brought up a good point that had me thinking. A lot of relationships, something that a lot of relationships lack is giving it to God. There's times where if you don't let God put his hands in your relationship could fail.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what you do, no matter what you change about yourself, about your partner, sometimes if you don't have that relationship with God and letting God handle your relationship, um, no matter what you do, it could fail.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually glad that you mentioned that, Kelly, because a lot of people lack that nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And also something I wanted to say earlier was, me personally, if there's no physical, mental, or verbal abuse, I'm willing to work whatever it needs to be, worked on. Because I
Definitely.
feel like a lot of people give up on small things, on
Mm-hmm.
things that can be changed, things that can be fixed.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's what a lot of people lack nowadays as well. That one thing they see is like, all right, well, I'm gone. If you're not cheating on me, if you're not putting your hands on me, if you ain't talking to me crazy, then anything else we can work through. That's how I feel about it.
I do want to make a point. Like I agree with everything I was just said. God putting His hands in your relationship, and trying to work through problems. But I do want to say there is. I don't want to take the light away from like people that get into relationships trying to do good and trying to be good, and they get screwed over in their relationships. There's people like that do exist, so I just don't want to take the light away from those people, but definitely if you can work through it, if you can get God into your relationship and help the two of y'all work it through, then that's great. But there is some people who are good people just get screwed over out
They
here.
not, yeah. There's also good people that are just not good for each other. They could be
Right.
good people and just not. be good together. And also to bring God back into it, yeah, both have to want God in your relationship. It can't only be one person. So it's kind of like I can be praying to God, like, please make this work. And the other person is kind of like, well, it is what it is. At the end of the day, both have to work. Both have to work in a relationship in order for it to work. Um,
I also want to add one more thing. It's me, you on mute, friend. I'm sorry.
I know. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna add that some of these relationships are rushed nowadays too, and that's why they end a lot faster too, because people don't get to take the time to get to know each other or be friends. It's so quick to wanna either have sex, be in a relationship, claim that person, and then a lot
Yeah.
of it comes from trying to be the owner of the person.
Yeah. I agree. I think also too, this generation has a issue with putting other people in their relationships as well, whether that's family, friends, the other person, family, friends. They tell too much of the relationships business, and now you got your family looking at this person crazy, or your friends looking at this person crazy, and not your person looking at them like, why they looking at me crazy? And it just makes a big mess. So that's another thing. People need to learn to keep everybody out of their relationships. Stop telling people so much that goes on in your relationships, because then that has your partner looking a certain way, and your partner is supposed to be a reflection of you as well. So now both of y'all looking crazy.
that's facts.
For me, I definitely was 21 when I had Jay. Uh, but at the same time, though, me and my husband wanted Jay. Like, we were both on the same page when it came to me getting pregnant with him. Nowadays, they just out here just doing whatever and getting pregnant. Now it's like, well, now what we gonna do? They're not really being educated. But that starts in the household, though. We have to have conversations with our kids as far as when it comes to sexual relations and having kids at a young age. Like, I feel like all of that could be prevented so much more if parents would just sit down and have a simple conversation about it, and not just say, you better not bring no kids in my house, trying to scare them. You trying to scare them is pushing them out there more than, oh, well, let me go see. So it definitely
I
starts in the
mean, you can
household, but
mix it
that's,
with a little
yeah.
good and a little bad. You can mix it with a little
Mhm.
I
good,
mean, yeah, but
a
definitely
little
have
bad.
that conversation, though. I don't think parents in this generation is having that conversation. They don't want to have that conversation. It's
Well,
just I'm gonna break your back if you come in here with a baby, and boom.
well, I don't even know what generation I would actually fall in. I kind of feel like I'm
Oh.
in both. So I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
say that I am definitely not that. You know, I am a more so lenient type of parent. I listen to my kids. You know, I actually, you know, give them a voice, something that I feel back in the days, you didn't have a voice. You weren't supposed to talk. You supposed to be seen and not heard. I know you heard that. So I tell my kids that too, but it's also like the way that you say it and how you say it, you know what I'm saying? And how they receive that, you know what I'm saying? Because also being seen and not heard isn't a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And I feel like we should, when it comes to parenting and what you were saying, Destiny, that they need to stop letting schools and social media teach them.
Okay.
Exactly.
They
We
have
need
to start at
Exactly.
home. So
mhm.
that's where a lot of stuff is going wrong too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree.
I agree too.
Well, good Google Google.
That thing is you.
Top. No,
All
you
right, I
went.
got something to
You
say.
went.
I got
Don't.
something.
What you gotta
Thank
say?
y'all for
Say
closing
Grab
something,
in.
my
girl.
eggs treat.
You better tune in because you can, subscribe because you must, stay toxic, and you better love us. Period.
So period.
Bye.
Shabbat.